This is Jenny Kaminsky with Restoring Balance Equine Services. I have decided to start a little blog on Aria's journey. I know several people have been very interested in her progress and what things I've been doing to help rehabilitate her. For those of you that don't know, Aria had an accident about a year ago where she sustained some head trauma issues. So I have been trying to rehabilitate her ever since. And I decided to start this blog just to kind of share our journey. And we're kind of in a situation now where I'm revamping her rehab protocols and experimenting more on what I can do to help bring her back to more balance. And I'm not sure exactly how this journey is going to go. Again, I'm going to be doing a lot of things that I haven't done before. So please do bear with me as Aria and I learn new ways to try and get her body more loosened up, get her more balanced, and see how far we can take this rehabilitation process. So without further ado, I will take you on to our first session. All of these items, the ground poles specifically, are new to her and new to me. So you will definitely see mistakes taken along the way, and us both just trying to figure out how to coordinate ourselves during this. So again, I hope that you enjoy this and you get a lot of value from what we're doing and maybe spark some ideas of what you can do with your horse. In the following video, we will be going over what our typical sessions are currently looking like. Again, the ground pole variations are new to Aria and myself. So I always start off each session checking in, testing some mobility. I'm not particular about perfection starting out the gate. She is stalled most of her time with turnout. So, she's coming out from being stalled from eating, out of her hay bag for a few hours. So, I'm just looking to test her out to see how she's feeling, how she's doing. I'll then be following up with some ground poles in a fan pattern. And I'm going to do it two different ways, both in hand as well as via ground driving. And then I'll also be bringing in downward transitions as well as ground poles in a snake variation. Here we're seeing that I'm testing out some lateral flexion on both sides and just seeing how far she's willing to go laterally. Laterally on the right side is much easier for her due to her head tilt than the left side. I'm also following this up with some hindquarter and forequarter yields. Again, I'm not looking for perfection here. I'm just looking to start getting those body parts moving, seeing how comfortable she is moving around and where her sticky spots might be for today. In this clip, we're looking at ground pulls in the fan variation in halter and lead rope. Since this is a new activity for her, I felt it necessary to just do this via halter and lead rope, give her a chance to kind of explore what this variation is without getting too nitpicky regarding her body position. I want to introduce this in an easy way for her to digest. And as you can see, she has to pick her feet up very high in order to get through the raised section of these poles. And, I'm noticing that, this is rather challenging for her, right? And it should be, I need her to be able to think about where each foot's going. And so that's what we're really working on here. And it gives me a chance to really evaluate how she's naturally going to move through this and navigate through it. Again, without not much input on my end, other than obviously I'm asking her to step through it. And the way that these poles are set up is the raised portion is closer together, and the fan portion, so the portion that's on the ground, is a little more spread out. So depending on where she steps, depends on how far she's got to move, between those strides. And as I'm watching this, I'm realizing that, this is rather high for her. She's a rather short horse, and I felt like, I'm asking too much. So here's a quick sped up video of me readjusting and changing my plan, midstream, which is another reason why I like to introduce these things on the ground. That way I don't have to worry about, mounting, dismounting. Gotta love how good she is to stand ground tied, right? So now here we have it with these poles, much lower to the ground. I think at this point, the high end is around 6 inches, as opposed to previously, I think I measured it around 16 inches. So that's a big difference. And you can easily see, she's able to navigate these a little bit better. I'm still getting really good steps out of her. She's putting effort into it. So I'm very pleased with, how she's maneuvering through these. She does get a little lazy on me. So, I do have to reevaluate that with her. So that's the reason why you see some flick of the whip here and there. None of that is obviously coming into contact with her. If I had the volume on with the video, you can hear me, talk her through this stuff as well. So I do want that forward motion. And as you can see today, or during this video, that forward motion is a little lazy at the moment. Here I'm asking for a little bit of a trot, just trying to bring some of that energy up with her, asking her to have a nice little bend, keep her head level, and, just kind of pick up those feet a little bit. I don't want to take her through these at a trot. It's not what it's currently designed for. And, right now I'm really just working on stabilizing. When we bring in the trot into a lot of these poles, that's more of more advanced, more strengthening. And right now I just want her to really think about the proprioceptives, the picking up those feet, knowing where her feet are in relation to, where everything is. Here I'm retesting again just to see, do we have more lateral flexion on both sides. To me, it's very important to test these things out during this process. Is this working? Coming up, we're working on some downward transitions. I have switched over to my ground driving. I love ground driving. If if you haven't noticed, or you will notice, I utilize ground driving a lot. It still keeps the rider, for the most part, out of the equation. And so in these videos, I'm working on walk, trot, and trot to walk transitions. As you can see, I'm not always the best about staying within frame of my video, but I will continue to be mindful of that. I really appreciate her, low, long head frame during these transitions. It's really important. I really want her to engage her, her core and her back during these. I will even ask for some backup occasionally during these transitions as well. Again, it's just making sure that we're activating the appropriate muscles. I really want to make sure that she's staying engaged on her hind end. And I do take, breaks during these sessions. I would use that as praise, especially if she's doing a really good job. And also, I don't want her rushing through the things that I'm asking her to do. You also see here, I'm doing some yielding work as well. Again, the more that you can get them to, place those feet where you want them, and having that communication, gets you a long ways. So, I will add those type of things into my transitions as well. Again, the more body control, the better. There, she thought I was asking her to stop. Just ask her, no, we're not at that walk yet. So she's anticipating a little bit at that point. And yes, I get a lot of exercise during ground driving. That is no joke. Another reason why I'm trying to take up this space in the arena is I try not to stay too long in just circles. Let's get straight. Here we're moving on to the fan variation, the ground pulls again, this time with the ground driving. So now I'm getting more picky about where she is in relation to the pulls. Remember, again, the raised portion is closer together, and the portion that's lowered and on the ground, those are more spread out. So the goal of this is, we do a circle where she stays up close, where those poles are raised. So then she's got to lift higher and they're closer together. And then when we come back around another time, I'm having her be more on the edge. So that way it's just asking for more lengthening and not so much height. And so doing these variations makes her really have to think about her coordination, because each time she's going through there, I'm asking for different things because the way those poles are situated. You can see going to the left, she's doing pretty good, especially in comparison to, the first video when, we were just doing it with halter and lead rope. Now she's got more coordination regarding what she's doing. Now I'm just going to ask her to change directions. Again, I apologize, I went out of frame. We'll be back momentarily. Now going to the left, it's going to be more challenging for her, right? Because she has that right head tilt going on, which, doesn't just affect the head, it affects the whole body. So you can see, she's having a very hard time maintaining that bend and also being able to coordinate her legs. a little better, but again, it's still not, doesn't have that nice bend that the other direction had. That's when I'm bringing her in a little bit more. I wasn't necessarily asking for a trot there, but I was asking for more of that bend. Just kind of remind her that, you know, she needs to have a good bend throughout her whole body. We lost some momentum there. That's okay. We'll be going back through again. You know, the important thing is not get upset about this, right? You know, this is a learning process. You know, she's got a lot going on. You know, things that we know and things that, you know, I'm still exploring and still trying to figure out how can I best assist her to relearn her body, and how do I assist the body to relax and be able to have fluid movement through, you know, both sides of her body. And here we're getting a better bend. You know, I feel like she's getting a little bit more rhythm into her steps there. So I went ahead and stopped. Good job, Aria. Moving on to the snake variation of the ground poles. This one's going to get messy, guys. Fair warning. But it's okay. It's okay. You know, we're working through this together. The ideal goal of this is to have her to be able to snake through these ground poles, or raised ground poles, I should say, and stay relatively close to the poles themselves. I have introduced this to her once before last week. I do have that one ground pole in the forefront you see there, just to remind myself to try and stay closer to these ground poles. You know, when I first introduced it to her, we did more kind of like figure 8 type things, and I allowed her to drift out quite a bit. Upon re-reviewing the protocols that I'm following this from, which I'll have in the you know, description below on my YouTube channel, as well as in the blog itself, you know, they should be staying pretty close to these poles. You should literally be snaking through them. But obviously Aria doesn't have that kind of bend to her, you know, particularly to the left. So, you know, we're struggling with it a little bit. You know, I also want to see her reaching out more laterally, as opposed to trying to face these things head on, you know, because I want more of a stretch to go on. But again, you know, we're not there yet. And that's okay. So after doing this session, I then followed things up with some neck stretches, some leg stretches, hind leg stretches, and some carriage stretches. I don't have those in this video for you today. However, I will be working on individual videos for these things. They are very, very, very important. I know very few people do stretches with their horses, and I'm telling you guys, it is worth its weight in gold. The amount of flexibility this horse has from just doing these stretches is phenomenal. You don't have to do them long, you know, maybe a couple times a week. I prefer to do these more stacked stretches at the end of my sessions or in the middle of sessions when the body's a little bit more warmed up. I prefer to do more dynamic type stretches, such as the pulls, during my warm-up period. But when the muscles are cold, you know, same thing with people, these static stretches, you know, you're just going to get a lot more out of it if you actually, you know, take the time and let the body warm up a little bit first. After our session, I also did some kinesiology taping on Aria as well. I have been working with a advanced teacher of sorts to explore new ways to tape her. You know, I focused more on the mechanical issue around her head tilt And, you know, it suggested to me to take a step back. Let's go back and try and focus on getting some circulation on the neck first. And once we get some more circulation going on the neck, then let's work on the fascia. And then once we get that working better, then we can go back and work on that head tilt. So in this particular application, it's just meant for circulation. And there'll be several different variations that I'm going to try to do to see, you know, what's going to be the best thing for her. So this is constantly going to be reevaluated, and I'll make sure to add, you know, what I'm doing with the taping as well in these videos, as I think they're very, very valuable. I have not done a tape specifically like this before, so I'll be interested when I go back to the barn to see, you know, what it's going to look like today. And I just want to take a moment again. Thank you for following this video. I again hope it was helpful, and I look forward to doing more.